Hey guys, it's Amanda Fisher from AmandaFisherCoaching.com, and I've been hearing from a lot of you about postpartum. As you know, I had a baby about almost 6 months ago, and I had been writing about it up until I think the 4-month mark postpartum, and then to be quite honest, trying to raise 2 children, trying to be a wife, trying to be a business owner, trying to write a blog full-time and coach online and coach people in person. I didn't really have time to actually sit down and write and edit a 6-month updated, postpartum post for you all. So I was like, hey, what about actually sitting down on a video and talking through it? That way I can do it in a couple minutes, get you guys up to speed on where I'm at, and not have to spend an hour editing it in the to check my grammar and all that kind of stuff. Plus you hear actually how I really talk. So I thought, how cool would it be to create Monday Mashup, showing up on Mondays via YouTube and talking through some things and getting some information out that way and helpful things out that way. It's a way for me to provide a little bit more content for you guys in a way that is just maybe a little bit easier for me to put it out in a more time efficient manner as a busy mom, busy person, just like you guys. Cool? So welcome to Monday Mashup. The topic today is, since I've been hearing a lot about it, my thoughts on 6 months postpartum, my own personal experience from from the birth of our second daughter, Marin. And so I thought it would be, I write about food and fitness and mindset most often, so why don't we categorize the 6-month postpartum piece into those 3 things? And I thought that it probably makes most sense, since you grow a baby and then birth a baby, to start with how my postpartum mom bod is doing 6 months out. Okay? 6 months out from birth. Backstory: had a completely normal birth, probably fast and furious compared to what I had the first time. Pushed for 20 minutes and that girl was out and she was ready to be in this world. No tearing, no real issues during pregnancy at all. So typically what you would consider a very normal pregnancy, a healthy pregnancy, pretty easy labor and delivery, to be quite honest. So I'm lucky and thankful for that. So 6 months out, here's what I am experiencing. The question, or the thing that I've been writing about and talking about a lot in person and online, is pelvic floor. Pelvic floor, pelvic floor, pelvic floor. Let's talk about vaginas. Let's get the awkward shit out of the way right out of the gate and just acknowledge that women have a pelvic floor and it goes through a shitstorm during labor and delivery, during pregnancy, to be quite honest, and delivery. And it really takes a beating and we need to pay attention to it, and we don't really talk about it a lot, and we need to, right? So pelvic floor, how is the health of my pelvic floor? The first 4 months I visited with a pelvic floor physical therapist. She was a physical therapist who specialized in women's health, specifically core, pelvic floor, getting moms to return to the fitness that they love while prioritizing the health of core and pelvic floor, during pregnancy, postpartum, and beyond. And so I worked with her for the first 4 months, showed up in her office 4 weeks postpartum, 3 weeks postpartum, 4 weeks postpartum. And, like any new mom, I had a very hypertonic pelvic floor, not like any new mom, but a common scenario for new moms. Hypertonic pelvic floor, meaning it was on all the time and it was really, really tight and had trouble relaxing or coordinating during life activities, and whatnot. So worked with her for, 4 months via 5 different visits. And we really worked hard on getting the strength of my pelvic floor up, both the actual ability to hold a pelvic floor contraction and coordinate with my core, and also relax my pelvic floor. And we worked on that for 4 months, got my strength up. They assess your pelvic floor strength on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being like nothing, and 5 being completely awesome. And I left her office at a 4 for pelvic floor strength, and that's cool. And so she, gave me the green light to begin testing out new exercises that I hadn't done in a while and whatnot, and seeing how things felt. And for the last 2 months, they've actually felt really, really awesome. From months 4 till 6, they felt exercise itself feels pretty awesome. I'm pretty cautious about what exercises I'm doing, to be quite honest. But I think what's happening is the job that I do, I'm a personal trainer, I'm a strength coach. I spend a lot of time on my feet, which is cool. You know, a lot of people spend a lot of time on their feet. But 6 months postpartum, spending a lot of time on your feet, I still have a pelvic floor that is still, you know, my body's still shifting around and things. And I also spend a fair amount of time demonstrating some exercises for clients and, you know, that kind of thing. And what's happening is that I have noticed that I can feel my pelvic floor being very tight all the time, and it's really, really, really having a lot of trouble relaxing. And so I have actually booked myself another visit to visit the physical therapist next week to assess or to kind of figure out what's going on and how to get me to relax my pelvic floor. Here's what that looks like in real life. You know, having a tight pelvic floor sounds really like not so bad. And it's, you know, there could be worse situations or different situations. Here's what that looks like in practice. For me, going pee, honestly, like, I feel like I cannot go to the bathroom all the way, or I cannot go to the bathroom, or I can go to the bathroom all the way, but then all of a sudden I have to come back and go to the bathroom again in a little while. Here's what's happening. The muscles that happen, that make your bladder contract to go to, you know, go number one, and your pelvic floor have to work together. And my bladder is working and my pelvic floor is always so contracted and it's never relaxed that it's not being super efficient and letting me go all the way or going quick or whatever. And is this a sexy topic? Hell no, but this is like real life stuff. Okay, and so I'm just going to go back to visit my physical therapist to work through how to get that to happen. To my knowledge, I've kind of been down the road of, do I have a bladder prolapse or a cystocele or anything like that? And I don't. It's just, I have a little pelvic floor dysfunction going on. So I'm talking about it because I want you to be hyper aware that this stuff is very, very common, and there are solutions out there that we can get other than, guess what, you had a baby, now you're just going to pee when you cough and sneeze or leak a little bit sometimes. And those aren't good solutions. So I will be visiting with her next week, and I'm kind of excited to get that ball rolling again because I would like to be able to go number one, you know, efficiently and not deal with this shit, right? So postpartum mom bod thing, topic number 2, loose joints. Loose joints are a wonderful thing. Relaxing in your body during the, you know, last half of pregnancy is kind of expanding those joints, loosening up to allow you to expand, right, to accommodate a growing baby, and also to help your, you know, body expand, because eventually you have to get this baby out of you and you want to loosen up, or that's going to be a very uncomfortable process. So loose joints during pregnancy are kind of, you know, a good thing. You need that to happen, and that's part of the game. I can also tell big time during some exercises that my body was just not ready for them. Structurally, I felt not very stable, and balance was kind of a big deal for me, and that whole thing. So I can tell 6 months postpartum. I stopped nursing at 3 months postpartum. So I've had, you know, 3 months to start to, you know, let the hormones exit the system and all that kind of stuff. But I am still very much 6 months postpartum is really, really early in the postpartum game yet. So I can still tell that there are some things that just don't feel very awesome yet, and so I don't do them, and that's okay. There's plenty of other exercises to choose from. I know that time is what's going to help me get through this a little bit. I just need more time under my belt to get, you know, my joints kind of put back together. In the meantime, just respect the body that I have. Getting more stable, more coordinated. I touched on balance. Yeah, I am not the coordinated beast that I once was. Kind of to be expected if you think that coordination comes from, you know, your brain and your core. Well, my core went through the ringer carrying a baby, right? So, of course, there is going to be some stuff coming back into play that I need to pay attention to. Getting more coordinated as time goes on, and I'm working on those things very diligently. Fourth piece that I'll touch on is body composition. Of course, when you're growing a baby, you are in an anabolic environment, right? You need to grow. You will grow things. You're growing a human. Pregnancy is probably the most anabolic state you'll ever be, and you're physically growing something in your body, and that just is how it rolls. Typically what tends to happen is women, even if you know, work out and whatever, yeah, you're going to gain a little bit of body fat, and that's part of the pregnancy piece. How much kind of depends on your specific scenario and a whole bunch of other different factors. So 6 months postpartum, I would say that I have more body fat than I'm used to or feel comfortable carrying around. And I'm working on that via nutrition and structured workouts. And that's just part of the game. 6 months postpartum is still fairly early. And I am not a mom who is like, I gotta bounce back ASAP. I still wear all the same clothes as I did before pregnancy. How they fit is a little bit different story, because obviously I carry body fat more around my midsection where that baby was. And the normal, places that you would carry body fat as a pregnant lady. So that's just part of the game, and I'm working on it with my nutrition choices right now, and I'm not super concerned about it, to be quite honest. I'm not gonna lie to you, okay? So I think what makes sense to talk about next is workouts. What do they actually look like? And I would tell you that I would love to be beasting in the gym some days, but I'm clocking in good structured strength training workouts, usually 3 per week at minimum, sometimes 2, sometimes 4. So I'm probably averaging 3 per week. My attitude towards workouts is that basically I'm using them as my tool to feel more like myself. Workouts for me tend to not be physical in nature. I don't use them usually to, produce a hugely insane body composition result. Workouts for me are more mental health related, and totally the same scenario right now postpartum. I don't always want to do them. I still try to keep them into my routine because they make me feel good physically, mentally, and I have things that I need to be working on right now, my core health and all that good stuff. I need to be strong to carry on around, a growing 6-month-old as well as a 4-year-old who sometimes like to be snuggled and picked up, so I still need to be active with my kids. So I need the strength of my core and overall body to be a good mom, to be quite honest. And so they're here. They're just good quality workouts. Lots of stiff leg deadlifts. I just started integrating kettlebell swings and Turkish get-ups again because they've been feeling good and they've been testing good with pelvic floor. I do a lot of squatting. I do a lot of single leg movements, like single leg deadlifts, lunging, that kind of thing. And then just good quality, either elevated push-ups or pressing, and lots and lots of pulls. So a variety of inverted rows, single arm dumbbell rows, goblet cleans with a kettlebell, and kind of the list goes on and on and on. Core training is good old half kneeling and double kneeling work, a lot of band presses, a lot of farmer walks, a lot of rack carries, a lot of side planks and dead bugs and things that feel good on my core. I haven't done a lot of front planks, true front planks yet for time. They make my pelvic floor feel kind of icky right now. So I'm just kind of staying away from them, and I'm finding different ways to train my core. Mentally, I think, is a huge component of this 6 months postpartum piece. I go back and forth between wanting to beast in the gym like I used to, pre-pregnancy, and not giving a shit about it because I have, only so much physical and mental energy, and I have still a lot of hats to wear other than somebody who likes to work out. So mentally, sometimes it's hard to pull myself back from doing things that I feel like I should be able to do. And then on the other side of the coin, some days I'm like, Jesus, I just need to get these couple good quality movements in, and that's enough for me today. Okay? So that's where I'm at. Hormonally, some days I feel like a complete nut job because 6 months postpartum, I still get a lot going on hormonally in my body. And then some days I feel like kind of normal again, kind of like my old self. So just kind of going back and forth between those two places. I remember after Emma was born, our first daughter, right about, honestly, like 14 months. I remember her first birthday, still feeling not quite like myself. And then almost like at that 14-month mark, I remember just like acknowledging that day. I was like, oh my gosh, I kind of think I'm back to Amanda, yes, my life has changed and all that kind of stuff, but I felt like completely like more even keel hormonally at about 14 months postpartum. So yeah, I'm kind of going back and forth between nut job and normal. right now. And I think that's probably pretty normal, but maybe not. So whatever. I would say also hormonally, changes in hormones bring on different pelvic floor symptoms. So the pelvic floor tightness totally coincides with a cycle for me, how I feel during, the magical 28-day cycle of a woman. Also, things that bring on pelvic floor stuff, which are kind of a mind game, so why I'm talking about them, under mental health, is high stress stuff tends to aggravate pelvic floor things for me. Low sleep tends to aggravate pelvic floor health or pelvic floor things for me. So that's kind of important to touch on too. I'm super, super excited for the day when I'm like, yep, I'm back on my even keel, on my own playing field without all this other pregnancy stuff going around in my body. But I also am really, really happy to have a 6-month-old baby who is completely fun and exciting and is learning this whole world all on her own. And so while I want to say I can't wait for that day, I also really like the days that we're in right now. So kind of two sides of the story, My overall thought process about pregnancy and postpartum is that carrying and birthing are the easiest parts, to be quite honest, in my opinion. Navigating transitions in your child's life for, a newborn, figuring out their sleep schedule and their eating schedule and how they change as they grow, those are all huge deals. Guess what? When they're 4 or 10 or 15, navigating all those transitions are huge. And so honestly, the classes that you can take at the hospital of, this is how you should labor and this is how you should birth, in my opinion, are kind of bullshit, because they should really help you navigate how the rest of this stuff, once the baby is here, dude, that's the stuff that we need help navigating, and learning how to do that is no joke, and it is emotional as hell. So that's the part that I'm thinking about right now. The other part is figuring out how to balance time with my husband when we have 2 little kids. Like, how can you still be a couple when you have 2 other little human beings that need you and love you and depend on you? That's a really big task. I mean, that feels like completely overwhelming sometimes. So that's a big deal, and we're working on it. And dude, 6 months postpartum, I think we've maybe been on 3, completely solo, alone dates or outings or whatever the hell you want to call them. And even during those 3 little outings, we spent time talking about the kids. It takes effort, is what I'm saying, and that's something that we need to work on and that we're working on. And then I would say the other part of this is I'm a really lucky person in the fact that I get to do a job that I really, really love. But I also do a job that I really, really love, and I don't have help doing it. So the part that I really love is seeing people and helping them learn about fitness and nutrition and mindset. And yet the other piece of that business is running a business, managing the admin stuff that happens in a business while you're not doing the piece that you love. That's a lot of effort, as is growing an online business, trying to be a good mom, trying to be a good wife, and trying to still maybe not be such a psycho bee all the time. That's a big task. So prioritizing balance and being able to shut off some things to focus on other things has been something that I have been actively working on, shutting off social media or shutting off work at some certain point of most days is been kind of essential to be present with young kids and my husband. So postpartum and pregnancy and, postpartum for the next 80 years or however long I'm on this earth is not something for the faint of heart, although it is one of the most incredible journeys that I've ever been on. So, it's process. So that's where I'm at 6 months postpartum. Physically, mentally, hormonally, all that kind of stuff. So this is my Monday mashup for September 25th, 2017. We only have a couple more months of 2017 left. If you're still listening, drop me some comments on what you want to hear from Monday mashup next time. And I want to make this a thing because it's super, super easy for me to talk to you like this, maybe a little less formally than writing a blog. So we can get some cool stuff done this way too. All right. Have a good day. Bye, guys. Happy Monday. Bye-bye.